Hi everyone, it's Brett Caviness here at Coldwell Banker Menlo Park, and I've got Danielle Dahl here from S&M Moving Systems. And what we've been doing is talking a little bit about today already on the top 3 things people should be thinking about when they're making a move. And Danielle works with individuals and companies, corporate clients, locally and all across the world. So I'm wondering, Danielle, if you could give us kind of lay down the top 3 tips people should be thinking about already. And give us a little bit more information on, the process, how to make it easier, and what they should think about.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Brett. So the number one that we pointed out earlier is plan ahead. Okay. In the moving industry right now one of our biggest challenges is driver shortages.
Wow.
The average driver age is between 55 to 65. Okay. So, you do the math. And so now we're trying to find, good labor for the price and still be competitive on that end.
Yep.
So being on the consumer side is, if you're planning on moving in the next 3 months, might as well call an agent, call a moving company, at least get that your potential shipment on the radar for the dispatch.
Okay.
So our dispatch says, oh, we have 20,000 pounds out of Menlo Park going out to Florida. At least they know that it's out there, so they can kind of say, hey, we have a driver for that.
Wow.
And so they can kind of fill those spots.
Okay.
Second is letting go of things.
Yeah,
okay?
That's hard.
It's so hard,
Yeah.
Especially when I go into an in-home survey. We'll start walking around, and this is like the comment, like, oh my God, their eyes get so big when we get in the middle of the survey. It's like, I have so much stuff. Because you don't end up realizing how much stuff you have until you actually have to move.
Yeah.
So for me, I've been having my garage, looking at my garage for the past couple months. I haven't done it yet just because I haven't had the time because I'm so busy. Like, everyone's so busy.
Yep.
But when it's time to move, is let go of some things. Donate some stuff. Have your kids get involved with it. Make a game of it. It's a really, really good feeling when you can actually give back to your community, especially with the material stuff that you've been buying for years and years. And if you're one of those people that just buys things and never lets go of things, you're going to start adding a lot of weight.
Yep.
They say average between like 800 to 1,000 pounds people gain a year on household goods.
Wow.
And I know I feel like my house is like I'm having that unbuckle. Like, you know what I mean? I think it's time to like purge a little bit.
Yep.
So and the good also positive thing about purging is the price will reduce.
Okay.
Our rates on a moving if it's an interstate, it's based on miles and weight. As well as the packing units and any additional items. If there's access issues or difficulties, if you're in the middle of the city with a parking permit, or even here in Atherton with the low-hanging trees and kind of tight churns.
And you talked about additional items. So are you able to give people one price, and that's the price that you're going to stick to, or are there going to be additional charges? Or
No. So for how we do business is we always bind our quotes. So it's called a binding estimate.
Okay.
We legally cannot exceed that price unless we get your consent.
Right.
We fill out an addendum on the day of the move, the day before. The only reason why you'd have to fill out an addendum is if there was a miscommunication or someone didn't do their job right.
Yep.
On the consumer side and on the moving company side. Believe me, I've been in situations where I see, I was like, but it's always lack of communication.
Sure.
Communications, when you're dealing with a moving company, you want to feel comfortable. Like, you're dealing with your clients. You want to feel comfortable with them. You're in a very personal space. And so don't feel bad to ask questions.
Yeah.
I always want to make sure my customers ask questions. We have a really fun frequently asked questions page on they have their own little portal website. And so they can go in there and they can, look over, and then they pick up the phone and we can kind of start that dialogue.
Yeah.
And it becomes a really good situation where we can now build a friendship. Because this, you're moving from one point, even if it's across town, it's a really, really stressful time in your life. So letting stuff go, I said, and then get at least 2 to 3 quotes.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't stress on that enough. There's 2 websites that you definitely want to look into. Obviously, word of mouth. If you have your community, like Nextdoor, I use a lot. Referrals are always the best start. If you have one referral, get a couple more from a recognized van line.
Okay.
If it's on an interstate side or an international side. Preferably on a local side. Most of the van lines are competing with small local agencies, but just get a couple.
Yeah.
Make sure that they're grading on the Better Business Bureau is at least above an A.
Yeah.
If they're below that, there's it's not that hard to have an A in the Better Business Bureau.
Right.
And then another website for the moving side is American Moving and Storage Association. So it's AMSA, and you can search a company, and the
Mhm.
mover. If they're not on that list, that's maybe a little red flag. Okay. So check on that and make sure that it's always in home. If if the moving company is still kind of pushing you that they just want to do over the phone or just on online, they're too busy for your business.
Yeah.
They're going to take the extra step to want your business and actually meet with you in person. That's the biggest thing, is actually face to face. If you're able to do a FaceTime due to scheduling conflicts or work schedules, I completely get that. I do that. I'm gonna have one after this I have to do. And it is only available, between the 1 to 2 bedroom apartments. You can go a little bit bigger, but you have to have a lot of patience on the consumer side and a patience on the moving company side. But I've been using it for the past 2.5 years, and our corporate clients as well as my consumers, they think it's so awesome. Especially in where we live. Utilize it. There's so many different platforms out there that we can take advantage of for the efficiency of the consumer and efficiency of, for me on my end.
Right.
So those are the 3 main things. When I briefly talked about the binding, when you are getting those quotes from those companies, make sure they are binding. If you're paying out of pocket, make sure they're binding. Binding means they cannot exceed that price. If a company doesn't feel comfortable with creating a binding quote, that's a red flag.
Right.
If it's a mini storage unit, a non-binding is okay because you can't see everything. We use a converter where you multiply a whole bunch of things and divide it and find out the actual cubic feet and then you do a percentage of it. But that's all the jargon that we use. But a non-binding is okay on a mini storage, but in a residential, if you can see everything, you better have an expert in your home. And if they're not willing to do that, then ask a little bit more questions.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, there's so much that goes into moving, as you can tell. So again, Danielle helps people, as she said, 1-bedroom apartment, single-family homes, individuals, and corporate clients. So you guys really do it all over the world as well. So thank you so much for being here today. And I'm going to be sharing Danielle's information so that you guys can reach out to her or feel free to contact me as well. I'm always online at brettcaviness.com, or feel free to give me a call as well. But Danielle, thank you again for being here. How's the best way to get a hold of you? Should they email or cell phone or?
Either way, probably email's the best. We're getting into. I can save it and then connect with you later that day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. And thank you guys for watching. I hope to bring you some other great area professionals in the coming months.